Part 1, Question 4, Article 3, whether any creature can be like God. That seems like a no-brainer. I mean, God is absolutely unique, but we also talked about Matthew telling us to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. So maybe the idea is not as crazy as it sounds. In the previous article, we saw that God contains within himself all the perfections of all things. So there is already some place of contact somehow between God and man. The question then is, what do you mean by the word like? Well, we know in Genesis that man was made in the image and likeness of God. We know from St. John that, quote, when he shall appear, we shall be like to him. So it is possible, in theory, for a creature to be made like God. That does not mean that God is like you. It means that I can be changed. We can't be changed from a contingent to a non-contingent being, but we can be changed. Even though, quote, there is none among the gods like unto thee, O Lord. That's small g, gods like unto thee, O Lord. So if even the heavenly beings have no shot, what shot do any of us have? Objection 2. And I find this objection more troubling. Thomas has already shown that God does not share a genus with any creature. He isn't not in any genus at all, not even the genus of being. How then can we be like him? It would be like comparing sweetness to whiteness. That's Thomas's example. Other objections. No creature by definition can share God's form. Only for God is essence and existence the same. No form adopted by a creature could ever match this. Isaiah may have had this in mind when he said, quote, to whom have you likened God? Here is Thomas's answer, quote, likeness varies according to the many modes of communication in form. Thankfully, that's dense stuff. Thankfully, the saint gives us 2 examples. Very different things can both be the same in that they are both white. You could have a white pool ball and a white elephant, and they could both share whiteness. A object warmed by the sun can be said to be, quote, like the sun in that it has the heat of the sun. It's absorbed some of the sun's heat. Creatures, therefore, can be made like unto God, not that they could ever, quote, participate in the likeness of the agent's form, but only according to some sort of analogy. And the saint's next line is a shocker. Get ready for this. Quote, in this way, all created things, so far as they are beings, are like God as the first and universal principle of all being. From the highest to the lowest, all created things, insofar as they, as we are beings, are like God as the first and universal principle of all being. Reply to objection 1. Like him, in that we exist infinitely less than him, than God in glory and power. We are contingent, he is not contingent. Reply to objection 2. God is not related to creatures as though belonging to the same genus or any genus, but as transcending every genus and being the principle of all genera. God is essential being, whereas other things are beings by participation. Although it may be admitted that creatures are in some sort like God, it must nowise be admitted that God is like creatures. And this is a crucial distinction. It's easy to get confused by this stuff. Sometimes language is sloppy, but let's consider another example. This obviously is not from Thomas, but hey, that photograph looks like my father. Really? Your father was 3 inches tall and 2-dimensional and made of plastic? Well, no, that's obviously not what we mean. Even if we say the photograph looks like my father, does not mean that my father looked or acted like a photograph. My father was a human being, of course, and so is yours. We can be made more like God. We can have our stains washed away. That does not mean that God becomes more like us.